Now, as the House continues to battle over the Speaker's gavel, you may notice the date on today's calendar. It is January 6th, and today the White House is marking the second anniversary of the insurrection that unfolded at the Capitol.
Yeah, President Biden will award the Presidential Citizens Medals to 12 people who defended the building during the attack, including members of the Capitol and Metropolitan Police. Now, Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick will receive his award posthumously.
A bipartisan Senate committee found at least 7 deaths were connected to the attack and dozens more were injured. And in the last 2 years, almost 1,000 people have been charged in connection to the attack.
This also comes just 2 weeks after the January 6th committee released its final report, calling on the Department of Justice to charge former President Trump for inciting an insurrection.
Joining us now is NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss. Michael, good to have you with us on this day. I mean, recent polling from Quinnipiac University found Americans are nearly split on whether the U.S. should move on from the January 6th insurrection. As a historian, where do you fall on this one? I mean, what significance should this day hold in American history?
Well, Joe and Savannah, I'm on the never be forgotten side. This was a moment 2 years ago. We almost lost our democracy. We have to always remember those scenes. There were violent marauders who invaded our Congress and our sense of law and order and our Capitol. And if they had been a little bit faster, there's a lot of evidence now that they might have killed our Vice President, Mike Pence, our then Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. There could have been a move to get Donald Trump to not only suspend the election and seize the voting machines, but even martial law, we're learning. If all of that had happened, you might not have had Joe Biden inaugurated, and we would be living in an authoritarian country of brutality and other things that I don't even want to think about. That's how much this meant. The other thing is, remember that in that House chamber today, voting will be new members, many of whom thought that January 6th, that insurrection, was a great idea.
Michael, as we mentioned, the January 6th committee has recommended former President Trump be charged with at least 4 federal crimes. Put that in context for us with past presidents and other White House scandals.
We have had a lot of scandals in the White House, a lot of presidents who were bad presidents and doing bad things, but they never did something as bad as waging an attack against our American democracy. You know, the evidence that's now coming out, especially from the now retired House January 6th committee, suggests that Donald Trump, as president, was at the center of all of this. Jefferson Davis tried it. He was the president of something called the Confederacy, but Davis was not president of the United States. When before in American history have we had a president of the United States launch what amounted to a coup d'etat against what Congress was doing and against our democracy? That's in a category of its own.
Nearly all of the fallout from the insurrection has happened during President Biden's time in office, except for the first 2 weeks after the insurrection. I mean, how do you think he'll be remembered for his handling of the attack, trying to toe a line between not being too political about it, but trying to get the nation back on track?
Well, one of the things that presidents do is tell us what's important in history. You know, what if we had, for instance, in contrast to this, a president during the last 80 years who said that, you know, the attack on Pearl Harbor wasn't that important. FDR should not have taken us into war. In contrast to that, President Biden is saying we should see this as a triumph for democracy. We overcame January 6th. 2021. We're still a functioning political system, but it was really close, and we've always got to be vigilant.
All right, Michael Beschloss, always good to have your perspective on days like this. Thanks so much for joining us. And our very own Hallie Jackson will be taking a look back at the insurrection today in our January 6th report special. That's tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on NBC News Now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.